Hello. For a few years now, I've been growing vegetables in buckets. For me, fabric bags were the new kids on the block, so I had to give them a go. I grew a wide range of vegetables in buckets and bags and made a comparison. Did a small scale trial. I'm going to let you have a look at the vegetables that I trialled in buckets and bags. But bear in mind it was small scale because there's a small bucket, small bags and I have a small garden. But nevertheless it was a trial and there were some results. So you'll see those shortly. The videos in the playlist I'm about to show you cover, in most cases, the planting and growing and the final accounting of the delivery of each vegetable type. You can't access the videos in the playlist from these screenshots. I'll attach a link to the playlists at the end of the video so that you can access any of them easily to check them out. I'll also give you a link in the text of this video below. The bags in these videos are now 3 years old and still serviceable, still growing vegetables. Check out this 4-page list, but remember you can't access the list, you can only check it out. You can access the list from the links that I'm going to give you later in the video. Check out those 4 pages to see what's available, then come back to me. Still with us? Okay, this is one of those fabric bags. Until recently it was in the greenhouse, but as you can see this tomato's finished. I've taken the top off, the root ball's still intact in that bag. What I would do now is, and I do this at the end of every gardening year, is to take the soil out of the bag or the bucket, to break it up and to put it straight back in. And that's where I'm going to store it over winter outdoors in the bag or in the bucket with a layer of chop and drop on top of it. An organic green and brown mix, and will allow nature to do the composting, take it down into the soil, reinvigorate it. Be good to go again next year. I've been using the same soil now for year after year after year after year. It's easy enough done. Yeah, so that's what your bags are likely to look like if you get some. So you've got the lifting handles on there, and these lifting handles make it a lot easier to move these guys about. They're quite easily lifted. Let me give you a comparison with one of the buckets I was using in those videos. It's one of the buckets. As you can see, it's emptied. This might have grown potatoes this year. It might have grown, oh, there's Meg. It might have grown onions, it might have grown leeks, it might have grown courgettes, might have grown tomatoes, could have grown potatoes, could have grown carrots, could have grown beetroot, could have grown anything. Anything that you see in those videos could have been grown in this bucket this year or in previous years. And I've simply, once harvested, put the mix back in the bucket, let it chop and drop and let it stand out for 6 months. Then away we go in spring. Now let me just show you this. So when we talk about size, and size matters, yes it does. Too big at homegrown veg, we can't get them in the garden. 10 inches across, 10 inches, yeah, 10 inches across, 10 inches, and it holds about 2.5 gallons of mix. Yeah, 2.5 gallons. So it's half the size of one of those 5-gallon buckets that you might be using, particularly if you're in the US. I know they're a favourite out there, but I find them too heavy. These are ideal. These are ideal. Now the bags are a very similar size. I think these are sold as 3-gallon bags. It's an empty one, as you can see. Again, it's been in service. You can see the service marks on it. But one of the things I thought might happen with these was that the stitching would rot and they would fall to bits. But I've got to say now, all the bags that I've bought a couple of years ago are still in service. They're still working, and they've stood outdoors for neck on 3 years, either growing something or full of soil, but never empty like this. I've just emptied this one to let you see it. And if we look at the size comparison, and this incidentally is about the size of a small domestic bucket, about the same size, wouldn't you say? There's not a great deal in it. There's not a great deal in it. And so when I've done those trials where I grew the various vegetables in both buckets and bags to see if one was better than t'other, what I would do was I would fill this with soil, pour it into the bag, then fill it again, and I knew exactly the same amount of mix in the bucket and the bag. Hey, couldn't be easier. And the same amount of fertiliser, whatever I incorporated, and it was usually something like bloodfish and bone, to give us a bit of a level playing field. Yeah, now if you want to watch those videos, you need to click on the link at the end of this video, or click on the link in the text below the video, and you can watch any of those videos. You can see the vegetables being planted, you can see them being harvested. Right, now this is supposed to be a critique on this bag, isn't it? Let's move this bucket out the way. This is supposed to be a critique on this bag. Okay, well, my biggest concern was longevity. How long would they last? Well, they've lasted 3 years, and there's no signs of any deterioration. Maybe a bit of discolourment, but the handles are still strong. The bottom stitching and the side stitching seems to be intact. So yeah, if you're going to get some of these, you're going to get 3 years or more out of them, even if you handle them the way I handle them. You may want to empty them out and wash them and dry them and iron them, whatever, at the end of your gardening year. I don't know, but this is how I do it. And they've lasted 3 years, and they're going to be used again next year when we start gardening again. So yeah, they last quite a while. The handles are strong. They're easier to lift than a bucket because of the handles, and because they've got a flat bottom, they're more stable than these buckets. When you get a big plant in that, it might want to be blown over. Say if you've grown a potato or something like that. But these sit down on the ground better and they're more stable. One of the downsides is they do dry out quicker because this fabric's breathable and the wind can blow through it and dry the contents out. That's not a problem if you live in a wet environment, or if you're handy with a watering can, you can keep them wet. There's no problem there, just a bit more work. Excuse me. But the upside of that is they don't waterlog. You're not going to finish up with waterlogged bags because they don't hold water. The mix in there will stay moist, but the wind blowing through the side will want to dry it out, and eventually we'll need to water these things again. But they will not waterlog. Okay, so that's what I've found with these bags over the 3 or so years I've been using them. If you're going to get some, then presumably that could be your expectations as well. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this short video. Don't forget to have a look at those vegetables that I grew previously in buckets and bags, and yeah, let me know what you think. Send me a comment, let me know what you think. Well, that's it, Meg. I think we can wrap it up. Yep, I think we can wrap it up. This is homegrown veg. Yes, it is. It's homegrown veg. Signing out. Then we'll do a tidy up. And then we'll take these pups for a walk.